Welcome all the YouTubers. Today I'm gonna cover all class, all arc passive review from the actual Korean players who played the arc passive in the real raid. And this is pre-balance patch. We're not sure when they're gonna do the balance patch on arc passive. Reminding you that I put a lot of effort of not just translating this, but also I studied a lot. So if you think I am a good boy, then subscribe and hit the like, and also come to Twitch and follow me. Yeah, for people who are curious about the animation of the new skills, it's in the document here, like this. There's a video example on each of the new skills, so you can click that, which is made by Sivo and Lustboy and some other, assistants. Shout out to them, guys. Rage Hammer. Similar rotation, but became a hybrid burst class from a consistent class. What makes it change like this? His 4th line main node gravity release. So normally you can't use the skill in the gravity mode, right? But Rage Hammer can if they invest the point here. And it allows him to do more damage on the purple skills. So it becomes a semi burst class. Now it seems like the meta is becoming landing 3 purple skills in Z, because Z has not much duration, so you can't put up to 4 purple skills, so it's up to 3. And because of that, people are coming up with then in that case, why don't we change the tripod of the Earth Eater to a meter gain tripod, so you reduce the damage on the Earth Eater, but you earn more meter to activate the Z more frequently. Does that make sense? So the damage proportion of the Seismic Hammer, Perfect Swing, and Full Swing has increased more. Gravity Training. Now DPS did increase. The spacebar cooldown resets thanks to this side node here. You see here, movement skill cooldown resets. But the problem is there's a serious crit unbalance between the Z, the bonking skill, and the purple skills. They do not go for any crit related arc passive. See, look at this. Crit increase 20%, crit increase 8%. They do not go this. They rather go like these kind of stuff. The one that increases the attack speed or the raw damage. And the reason is because that showed higher DPS than going for the crit arc passive. The problem by doing this is that the crit rate is really low on the purple skill. The purple skill crit rate only relies on the substat of the crit. Right here, this part. Only. And that's 20 to 30%. But that's the best build, is what's going on. And another problem is Adrenaline and Master Elixir can't be used on gravity training. Why? Adrenaline and Master Elixir stacks up only when you use the skills. When you go into the bonking mode and you start bonking, then that's an auto attack. You don't use skill. So Adrenaline and Master runs out. Spam OM. So they can't use this. Alright, next one is Gun Lancer. Now Red Lancer has a huge shield penalty. Number one is because you can't run level 1 combat readiness anymore, so-called purple Gun Lancer build. Another thing is that if you see the Gun Lancer's skill, you see a lot of shield penalty. An additional 5% shield gauge is consumed when entering the Z mode. Not enough shield most of the time is happening compared to Season 2, and the playstyle became less aggressive because of that. More riskier. Yeah, some even dropped Nelasia, the party shield skill. You know why? The damage of the land skills increases by these much, but the shield from the normal skills to your party member, minus 80%, spam OM. And there's a famous quote that Red Lancer made after trying this out. It's been such a long time that I actually had a pot. Now, Blue Lancer. The DPS increase is noticeable. And the Blue Lancer is the one that, most likely uses the front dash arc passive. They say the front dash is very comfortable, easy to use. This part, tactical maneuver. Movement skill is now a front dash. After using it, attack speed increases for 8 seconds. Also, the damage of the skills increases as well. Alright, next one is Berserker. Mayhem. Spacebar is better than tier 3. So what happened to the spacebar? This part. Movement skill cooldown resets when you enter a burst or mayhem mode. Distance decreases by 2 meters, but the cooldown reduces by 2 seconds as well. But the problem is, putting a damage buff on it is so bad and it's very stressful, says the mayhem enjoyers. Outgoing damage by 1.5% for 20 seconds, and it stacks to 4, up to 4, so that's like 6 for 20 seconds. So you have to consistently use the spacebar in 20 seconds, and people are saying, yeah, it's kind of scuffed. Berserk technique, it has higher ceiling than the mayhem. The playstyle became like a robust spirit sophist. Click the identity Z, identity on, and then spam all the damage skills, and then click the Z again, identity off. Very unpleasant during the Berserker off. One of the famous quotes says, "My character crawls like a worm outside of the Berserk." Punisher, Unstoppable Fury, gains enhanced burst new buff. What is that? Outgoing damage increases by 12% for 8 seconds, but how does this proc? When you use the Bloodlust. So everything becomes fixated to the Bloodlust like the red dust. So people are saying this is very unpleasant on real raid because you have to land all those slow skills as a back attack in 8 seconds, and that is not realistic, is what people are saying. So actually, people are working on non-ambush master build. And also, you can see a lot of lying down emote on the Punisher. Next one, Predator. Deepening Fury. Every 3 drain. Drain happens whenever you land the skills during the Predator mode, okay? You get a new buff. What does this buff do? Outgoing damage increased by 4%. Stack up to 10. So 40% for 30 seconds. Honestly, sounds good, but check what's going on. This buff stack resets to 0 when the Berserk goes off. Predator have a exhaust debuff as well when it goes off, right? So you have to deal with the ZDPS moment, exhaust debuff, and also you have to stack up the new buff stack entirely from 0 as well. But then, memo, isn't it worth it if the new buff is at least like very strong, very worth it? Apparently what people are saying is that it is not really that great, like DPS increase in the real raid, because a lot of bosses like moves and airborns like fly away, and Predator is a class that have to consistently keep on attacking to stack up the buff and extend the duration of the Predator, right? But that kind of moment is not coming out often, is what Predator players who actually open the Arc passive is saying. Alright, next one, Pally. Support Pally didn't get any offense buff related Arc passive, so they feel very smudge. So let's see if that's true. Support Paladin. Blessed aura size increased by 30. Restore 70% remaining gauge if you cancel. Additional heal over your max HP. Apply the brand for additional 10 seconds. Okay, that's true. Yeah, so they don't get something particular like special, but rather these changes are something like increasing the floor, right? Not the ceiling. DPS Pally got a Glaivier synergy. Where? Here. On the 4th line main node, Knight of the God. On crit hit, incoming damage plus 8% for 5 seconds. So they can synergize out. So it becomes a legit DPS class. But apparently people are very pessimistic on DPS Pally. Who's gonna pay for the build, the KEKW? Also, DPS Pally has to compete with other DPS for joining the party. Why would I give up the support advantage of joining the party? Is what's going on. SO Word Answer. Full spec has highest potential. Big damage increase turned into an instant burst class. Like, you build a bubble, and then you just burst the skill. Uses 1 counter skill instead of 2. Also, the identity management became more difficult. The counter skill is needed to build the bubble, which means it has bad counter uptime. Now let's check the FI word answer. Weaker than ESO. So ESO word answer got a new Z skill. What does it does? When you use it, then the next skill of either sweeping kick or moon flash kick or leaping dragon, outgoing damage increases. So it's like a pre-buff. That's what's going on. And people are saying it's comfortable to use because it doesn't have a time limit, first of all. And after you click the Z, then it consumes the bubbles, right? Because that's what it says. It consumes the bubbles. Even if you didn't land the next skill after clicking the Z, you can still fill up the 3 bubble again. So you click the Z at 3 bubble, then Z is on, right? Which has limitless time. And the bubbles are all consumed. But you can still keep on using other like meter building skill to fill up the 3 bubble, even though the Z is still on. And then what you can do is that you go into a sweeping kick, which goes as an enhanced one, right? And then you click the Z again since you still have the 3 bubble, and then you go into an enhanced leaping dragon. So depending on the situation, F5 War Dancer can also like burst Tajutsu. Seems like the meta is high crit instead of high swift. The elixir they're also changing from master to critical. The damage did increase by a lot, but low swiftness is hard to adapt. And you have to fill up the yellow meter during the mech because the importance of the yellow meter became more important with the new arc passive. That's what people are saying. Shock Scrapper. The third line side node is stressful. Let's see what that is. Third line side node, ducking. Movement distance increases by 1 meter. Outgoing damage for 10 seconds after using it. Bro, stop putting these kind of stuff. Stop putting a damage buff on a movement skill. Yeah, very stressful, they say. Overall, the arc passive is not focused on increasing shock's ceiling, but rather floor. So not that, like, unsatisfying is what's going on. Soul Fist. Robust. DPS increase is noticeable. The gameplay became cleaner. You turn the Z on, and then you use the energy release, which is the, party synergy buff, and the self buff. And then you spam all the DPS skill, and then you click the Z again, off. So that's one rotation. By the time the skill cooldowns are coming back, the Z cooldown comes back too, which is perfect. It aligns perfectly, guys. People are very satisfied with it. And for the Awakening, you use a second Awakening instead of the first one, the Spirit Bomb. Since long delay, this aligns the cooldown. Now EO. Cooldown of the normal skills by 10 seconds, guys. Minus 10 seconds. So yeah, reduces a lot of cooldown. Because of this, you don't have to invest on the swiftness, but rather on the specialization to get higher value. The full spec EO does more damage and it has faster Z recovery. The rotation is similar to the Robust Spirit, but with different layers of hypes. There are people trying to stick to full Swift build because this is not the playstyle that they wanted. The full spec build is what's going on. Yeah, so TLDR, if you are seeking for the ceiling, then the full spec EO is the answer. Okay? But if you like the EO because of the Swifty, playstyle, then you can still stick to it, but it does less damage in the full spec EO. Pinnacle. Added another pre-buff skill. What is it? Yawn style compact attack. When you press the new X skill, then you consume 1 bar of the meter, and then the next skill's outgoing damage increased by this. But the problem is, it has an animation. It doesn't work like a Asura's X, like no animation. So they added another pre-buff skill. So now what you do is that Glaivier already have a pre-buff skill called Shackling Blue Dragon. Gives a self-crit buff, right? And the party synergy. You shackle, and then you stand swap, which has a delay, right? Stand swap has a delay. And so that's a 2 delay already. And then you click X as well. 3 delays, bro. 3. Then you start pouring the damage skills. The red skills. And then you have to swap back again. Z again to use the blue skills. And then X again. Like this, like animation lock. And then you have to use the blue skills. And repeat. I am not sure if there's a class that is this much outdated with a lot of shackles, a lot of pre-buff in 2024. they still run a lot of charging and holding skill, and you have to land them as a back attack. So people are trying to come up with a non-back attack build, but what's going on is that in order to replace the Ambush Master, there's not much option for Pinnacle. The stabilized status is the only one at the moment, but the penalty of the stabilized status in the real raid actually sucks a lot. So, lying down, dead G. Okay, next one, control. Got a new damage skill, X skill. What does it do? Yawn style technique. Upon use, gain 10% of mana back. That's good because control always suffered on mana problem, right? And it's a damage skill, right? Damage. So this skill actually does a decent damage, by the way. It does the strongest damage among all the blue skill, if I'm not wrong. For control Glaiviers, which does a lot of small, multiple damage. Since this does one big singular damage, they feel like kinda happy. The playstyle is pretty much same, just spam the skills. And the DPS in Trixion, by the way, is higher than Pinnacle. If I give you the rough comparison, the same level, 1680, Pinnacle does 55 million DPS on Trixion with the Arc passive on. Control with the Arc passive on does 85 million. SO Striker can't use normal skills during SO rotation. When you use the SO skill after another SO skill, I see, that's why it's called SO connection, right? So you have to use SO after SO. Then you get attack speed buff. So anyways, you have to use the SO to SO to SO, the SO connection, to get this buff, okay? Because of that, it hinders the counter and the movement skill. Movement skill, like as a skill, not as a spacebar, okay? If you use like any of those normal skills, like counter or movement skill, instead of SO rotation during the SO connection, then yeah, like these buff gets removed, is what's going on. So this is like a shackle, right? Another like, some uncomfortable thing happening. So that's what people are not liking about it, the SO strikers. Now let's talk about Death Blow. Blessing of Bid. Esoteric skill damage minus this much. What? The skill damage is minus by over 20%, guys. Bro, is there any, main, fourth line main node that decreases the skill's damage, guys, like this? Is there? When an SO skill is used, reset all other SO cooldown. Okay, maybe that compensates this, maybe. When 16 elemental orbs are consumed, next SO skill's damage. So yeah, it's like this. You use the SO skills, which does low damage because of this debuff, consistently to use one big SO skill with this damage buff is what's going on, right? But again, as what people who actually play the Deathblow Striker says, because that you have to use lot of SO skills to go up to the point to get this buff, it's more like a consistent DPS that has a low DPS is what's going on. Spam noted. Yeah. And is this damage buff at the end even rewarding? No, is what people are saying. No, not really. So a lot of people are surprised how the F there's a damage reduction on a 4th tier node. Lie down is what's going on. Asura just got some DPS increase, no change on gameplay. There's nothing to say. Asuras are they're just showing off their DPS, and that's it. They never share an actual review. Broken. The third line side node is goated. What is it? Let's check it out. This one. Internal energy. Gain 30 stamina and shock energy when entering stance and increases damage by this much. People say that gaining the stamina and shock energy by 30, that part allows flexible rotation. And they got a new Z skill called Wind Wave. This terminates the broken stance. And it shares the damage gem with the Falling Blossom. Bro, this is a class discrimination, bro. Yo. You get one damage gem, one level 10, doom, on the Z skill, and it benefits the Falling Blossom. That skill, and then this new skill as a Wind Wave. Z again. One gem, bro. One gem. is considered as a candidate of one of the top DPS at the moment. Let's look at Enhanced Weapon. 4th line main node is so bad. Okay, okay, what is it? Strategic Equipment. -2 handgun skill slot, but +1 shotgun skill slot, and outgoing damage increase. In order to optimize this, you have to remove the skill point from the Desperado, which is the handgun skill, into a shotgun skill that no one uses, which is called the Sign of Apocalypse, guys. Now the thing is, by doing that, there's no like big damage increase. KW, no meaningful advantage is what's going on, because Desperado, even though it's the pistolier skill, it still does like decent damage on a enhanced weapon as well. But Sign of Apocalypse is literally a garbage skill according to the enhanced weapon people, and therefore, like, you know, no meaningful advantage is what's going on. Still have to deal with the shotgun skills close shot tripod as a full back attacker. The close shot tripod is something that enhanced weapon have on the shotgun skills, right? You have to stick very close to get a damage, you know, additional damage. This is one of the things that people were asking to be fixed on the arc passive, but it didn't get fixed at all. One person says, if you hit every attack as a back, then you can get the underline upright, guys. Not even crew fighter, by the way. Yeah, the class is still so unpleasant to play. Yeah, of course, with the, you know, with a full back attack and with close shot tripod. Lie down emote. Pistolier. The 4th line main node is so much better than the enhanced weapon. Secret weapon. Available a new skill on the Z. So this skill is it's just a new skill that does a damage. What it does is that all of a sudden it, like, you know, flashes a shotgun and it hits 2 times. Da-dang, like that. So additional damage skill, decent damage. It looks like overall damage on screen is weak as a pistolier, but a lot of time it gets underline MVP. Class is easy and stabilized and even comfortable. Alright, Artillerist. Firepower enhancement. Playstyle is like a Drizzle Aeromancer. 4th line main node new skill damage is pretty bad compared to its cooldown. Gunfire Strike. A new damage skill by clicking Z key. Cooldown 80 seconds. I see it has a very long cooldown, but considering that, the damage is bad, is what people are saying. The side node called Overheat is also mid. It would have been better if it didn't reset the entire meter. So let's see what's going on. Overheat. Click X key available, and then it reduces the cooldown of the skills and attack speed increase for 8 seconds. But afterward, the firepower meter resets to 0. So what people are saying that it would have been better if it resets the grade into 1 instead of 0 is what people are saying. Okay, Barrage. Looks like it has to stick with all attack engraving because the attack speed became slower by losing Redemption Set is what people are saying. Pretty high damage and it's fun. The teleport usage is actually good in most of the raid. So what is this teleport skill? This one. Teleportation system. Enter barrage mode on your mouse cursor. Max range is 40 meters, like allows you to teleport while sitting on the wheelchair. And it also gives you damage, is what's going on. And people are satisfied with it, a lot of people. Death Strike. The new skill on the 4th line main node is goated. When you do it, you do ZZX, right? ZZX, and then you start pouring everything by getting the Death Strike buff, right? But compared to the Season 2, you know, when doing Z to Z, guys, ZZ, then it was kind of slow because it had animation and like kind of stuff. But what people are saying that this new 4th line allows you for the Z to not have an animation. So no animation, so therefore the rotation became much more flexible and concise. The practicality got increased. Also, the damage per rotation is insane as well. Wow, a lot of like compliment on Death Strike from the Death Strike players, guys. One downside is losing push immunity. It does not have animation, but at the same time, it doesn't give you push immunity. So that's one downside. The only push immune now it has now is the Awakening. Loyal Companion. The Z skill grants damage buff for 8 seconds. Let's see. Storm Hunter. Yeah, 8 second damage increase for 24%, right? Skill damage. If you run cooldown gem on it, then the uptime is theoretically infinite. Wow, that's surprising, guys. So before the 8 second passes, you click the Z again, and you renew the 8 second damage buff. Crazy. The Z does not cancel the auto attack of the Hawk. This is huge, guys. Your auto lower companions in season 2, when the Hawk is trying to auto attack, and the auto attack from the Hawk does decent damage, right? When he's trying to attack, but when you click Z, then it cancels the auto attack and it goes into the Z, which is bad. But the new Z on the Loyal Companion does not cancel the auto attack and it goes in as a double damage. So no more DPS loss. After you click X to terminate the Z, you get 50% of meter back in 5 seconds, which means in 5 seconds, you have to fill up other 50% with like skills, right? And they say that you can build other 50% right away by using some skills in 5 seconds. So it only takes 5 seconds to resummon the Hawk again. Scouter, Legacy. The DPS increased by a lot. 4th line side note is so bad. The AI is clunky and the back tumbling is annoying. So what is this? Let's see. Strategic Escape. When the Z is disabled, the class immediately escapes to the backside and the hyper suit changes to a bot that does auto combat for 10 seconds. And the problem that people are saying is that the AI of that bot that exists for 10 seconds is clunky. And also, the back tumbling animation is annoying, they say, like uncomfortable. The main node has new X skill, which is an additional damage skill. You can use it only during the hypersync, only once, chat, by the way. It has a decent damage, but only once per transform. The dev's intention seems like turn off the transformation quicker as possible to use the X skill frequently, because X skill can be used only once per transformation. But the reality is, the back tumbling is so bad. So I guess the back tumbling part is very, like, that much annoying, guys. Yeah, spam ON. AT Scouter. Since Redemption set got removed, the mass increase penalty feels pain, like feels bad. Playstyle didn't change much. It didn't get a new skill as well. The 4th line side node has a buff renewal problem. So let's see what this problem is. Grant this buff after using a normal skill. Grant this buff after using a drone skill. So what are these buffs? The next joint skill, damage increases by this. And this buff lasts for 9 seconds. Ah, I see. So it's like this. You use a normal skill, then you get a 9-second buff. And in that 9 seconds, you have to use the joint skill to get this damage. Now, the problem that people are saying, the buff renewal problem, is this part. So, for example, not all the time that you can stick to normal to joint, like drone to joint, like you can't not stick to that rotation like all the time. There's like something called like incident, right? When doing the raid. What they're saying is that when you, for example, when you use a normal skill, and then you use a normal skill again, then that should renew the joint buff to 9 seconds, but it doesn't. That is what's going on. And people are saying this is either a bug or if it's intended, it should be fixed, is what's going on. Peacemaker. The damage got increased by a lot. It no longer have long cooldowns on the main DPS skills. So the main DPS skills rotates quicker. Well, it seems like Legalia will be happy about this. The 4th line main node is goated. Let's see what it does. Pacifist. Attack speed this much, crit rate this much, outgoing damage this much for 9 seconds on every stance, guys. On every stance. It replaces the swap buff, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what people are saying. The 4th line is goated, especially thanks to the attack speed buff, which is here. The 16% attack speed buff. You can squeeze in more skills before the supporter buff ends compared to Season 2. That sounds awesome. Yeah. The Peacemaker can get underline MVP against the high tier classes at the moment if those high tier classes make a mistake. Except for BK. Okay, like, I guess, like, BK Breaker is, like, really that strong, guys. Spam KW. Like, I don't think Benji will like this, guys, if I keep, like, say this. OM. Now, TTH heavily relies on the 4th line main node, but it's bad unless you can invest all 3 points. Let's see what it is. Assault Sniper. Assault Sniper damage 90%, so it's a damage skill, right? Okay. And people are saying that this has to be invested 3 point, which is impossible at the moment because there's not enough skill point, guys, right now. Because of that, it's weaker than PM. All right, yeah, I mean, I guess later when there's more arc passive and they invest this, then we'll see what's going to happen to TTH. Master Summoner. Not much playstyle change, but you can now select the main identity from Akir or Phoenix. The 4th line side node, the Super Phoenix, that's the Korea translation, by the way, it's this one. Whisper from the Past. Sets Alamage and the Phoenix cost to 5 and 6, respectively. But the damage increases by, like, this much a lot, is what's going on. After the Phoenix flies, there's a follow-up damage happening from the ground. Follow-up, damage have 3 hits, and the boss has to be big to land all 3. People are saying that most of the time Akira is better, but for bosses with large hitbox, Super Phoenix is better. So you will see a lot of, like, summoners, like, spamming Phoenix, guys, most of the time, I guess, in, like, Behemoth kind of raid. OM. Now, CO Summoner. Arc passive is heavily focused on minion skills, which is good, because that's their identity, right? But the minion skills themselves are so garbage. They didn't fix the problem of the minion's auto attack getting cancelled when the minion skill is used. And because of this, there's a big problem with these 2 skills right here. The CO Summoner's main node and side node. Watch. Apply this buff on the target when the creatures land an attack, okay? And this buff stacks up to 100. And this one is Summoned Basic Attack Improved. Yeah, so far it doesn't, like, sound that bad, right? What's the problem? The minion auto attack keep getting cancelled by the skill prevents you from getting the stack buff from the 4th line side node. Spam kick W, guys. The attack speed of the minions become slower than Season 2 when you invest the main node. What? This one. Summoned Basic Attack Improved, it says, but this actually lowers the attack speed of the minions, is what summoners are saying. Wait, huh? So what's going on is that because this tripod, this main node, decreases the attack speed of the minion, it hinders stacking fast stacks on this side node. What? Hinders the side node, what the F? So this is so-called anti-synergize, guys. These 2 nodes are anti-synergizing each other. Bro. 07. Yeah, no wonder why CO summoners were also raging hard. 07. Arcana. Empress. DPS increased by a lot. The rotation became very clean since Nightmare Set disappeared. And you get a cooldown from the arc passive, so it's like an all-time inboundless mana. That sounds crazy, guys. You don't suffer from mana if you either run mana efficiency engraving or mana food. The 2nd line node increases call and judgment card duration to 6 seconds instead of 4. So this part. Empress's trick, see? Call card duration plus 2 and judgment duration 2. And people say this patch is actually huge in the raid. Okay. The 4th line side node, the Empress's Knight, does a lot of damage. This one. It's a new skill, new card. They add a new card, and if you use it, the knight comes out from the sky and does a lot of damage. It doesn't crit well, so in order to, like, crit well, you want to use it with the call card, but Like having both of the hands, the Empress, Knight and the call card, rarely happens. Yeah, says the people. Next, Emperor. Same as Empress. Cleaner rotation with Arc passive. Feels like running 6 Dominion Emperor without the Awakening penalty. There's no mana problem if you run Mana Food. The 4th line main node is really fun, especially it's crazy in the Chaos Dungeon. What is it, guys? Another Emperor. There's a 20% to proc an Emperor when using any other card. Spam what emote. You just use the card that's not an Emperor, and there's a 20% chance that Emperor shing like AoE like attacks. The Emperor also uses the side node as an Empress Knight. Not this, guys. Not this. They're running this. They're stealing the Empress's like side node. Spam OM. It is so satisfying when 20% Emperor procs on the Empress Knight. So you summon the Empress Knight coming from the sky, boom, and at the same time, the Emperor procs. Like that can happen, guys. The value of the Clown card, which duplicates, right, the previous one, got increased by a lot, of course, because of the Empress Knight, right? Igniter. DPS did noticeably increased. The best part is the 4th line side node, the free Blink. Blink Explosion. Blink no longer consumes gauge, but the cooldown increases by 25 seconds. So long cooldown, but a free blink, right? Yeah. And people are saying that most of the time, rather than to dodge the pattern, you use it to be in the better DPSing position. And it is goated. Other than that, not much change on the playstyle and rotation is what people are saying. Reflux. You go either full crit or high crit build. You don't spam the skills like in Season 2 because of lacking swiftness, but you do more damage. Also, because you run less swiftness, you have to consistently use Blink in 30 seconds for the buff renewal. What is it? Magic Charge. Gain a buff that increases the attack power by 22% for 30 seconds whenever you blink. Have to take Mana Food and some Focus Runes because of a Mana Forge uncommon 4th line node. So what is this? Right here. Among the common arc passive, there's this. You see this one? Mana Forge. Brand power plus 20, so that's a support thing. So this doesn't, affect the DPS. But still, it increases up to 24% damage, guys. Yeah. With the exchange of 2% additional mana consumption. That's what's going on. And looks like Reflux is going for this one. And because of this like 2% mana consumption additional, yeah, you want to run Focus Runes and mana like food kind of stuff is what's going on, okay? Support Bard. Having 4 bubble is good from this tripod. Chorus Serenade. The max bubble is now 4. But you cannot use 4 bubble. It only consumes up to 3, okay guys? So it's like making additional room for another bubble. Stimulant fills up all 4 bubbles. Yeah, that sounds wild. The max buff is still 3 though, but the management of the bubble became flexible. So this part is like this. Like as a bard, guys, you got all 3 bubble, but now is not the good timing to spend this because later on there's a obvious DPS moment. So you have to save for that. But haven't you guys felt like Smosh on wasting bubble? By staying with 3 bubble, that part gets solved with this. Yeah, so because of additional room. People are going for 4th line common node Mana Forge. So that thing, guys, that I explained in the Reflux, this. And so in exchange of the mana consumption, supporter gets 20% brand power. And this is actually crazy according to the supporters that say this is what you want to go for. Now the problem is, supporters are already a mana lacking classes, right? And imagine what's going to happen with this Mana Forge, right? To compensate the penalty, they run both Magic Stream and Max Mana Increase, most likely. That's what the people who researched are saying. And you also have to run the Conviction Judgment or Focus Runes on the skills. Next one, DPS Bard. Some people were talking about Chaos Dungeon settings, but I couldn't find legit DPS Bard reviews, guys. Yeah, sorry, guys. Yeah, it is what it is. Remaining Energy. The 4th line main node is good. What is it? Extreme physical activity. Outgoing damage increase. Okay. Surge skill moves to cursor location. And now it goes through the bosses. Surge is considered as a back attack regardless of the direction hit. Sounds wild, guys. Yeah, let's see what people say. They say it's fun and it's very practical. You can control where you want to go, like if you want to go through the mob or not, by putting the cursor on the correct spot. If you swapped from the Surge Blade to Remaining Energy, then you might feel smudge on the damage you see on the screen. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what Remaining Energy is. It's a consistent class, right? Surge Blade. Because of the 4th line side node, you have to land Surge in every 12 seconds, which is very stressful. Okay, let's see what that is. Surge side node. Enhanced Energy. Surge skill damage plus this much for 12 seconds after the Surge. Ah, so you land a Surge, then this buff starts to tick-tock from 12 seconds, and you have to build all the like Surge stacks in 12 seconds and must land it. Okay, so yeah, no wonder why people are saying stressful, a big shackle. This is the advice from people. It's better to not think about the back attack and just concentrate on gathering the Surge stacks. Then just land the Surge as a back attack. Some people are even thinking about not using this node, guys. Spam OM, this one right here. This 12 seconds shackle. Demonic Impulse. Blood Piercing. A new skill X key. Okay? Whenever you land the demon skill, then it gives a stack called Chaos Shard, and it stacks up to 100 stack, and when it does, you can use this skill. Okay, what people are saying that even though it does decent damage, people say that 100 stacks are too much. It takes long to build. So they're hoping that they reduce the requirement. PS, Perfect Suppression. The DPS has significantly increased. Got a new skill as well. Let's see. Storm Grinding. X key. Cooldown 36 seconds. So this is a damage skill, right? Another new damage skill. And people say is this skill leaves a remnant for like 3 seconds. Whoa, that's quite a long, guys. I'm not sure if you can land all the ticks then. If all lands, then it's goated. Have seldom mana issue even with the mana food. Looks like non-back attack Perfect Suppression is going to be the meta. Hunger. 4th line main node has a new Z skill. Okay, what is it? Killer Instinct. For 10 seconds, the skill's damage increased by 50% after using this skill. But the skill cooldown is 40 seconds. Okay, I see. The 4th line main node, the new Z skill, does a weak damage, but it can go through the mob, and it grants the 10-second buff, as I showed you. For high ceiling, people say you have to squeeze at least 7 swooping skills in that 10 second. Is that possible? Like I don't know, guys. And that is not easy in real raid, says people. Lunar Voice. The DPS significantly increased in the Trixion, but people say it's perhaps the hardest class in Lost Ark right now. Spam what emote? It's not the Deadeye enhanced weapon. It's not the Arcana. It is Lunar Voice with the Arc passive. Let's see why people are saying that. The 4th line main node is absurd in a negative way in real raid. Vital Point Detection. Grant a weakness break after landing a back attack soup skill in Persona. Okay. And this can stack to 3 stacks. Then the next red skill, the swooping skill, damage increases by 70 and is considered as back attack regardless of direction. So TLDR, you have to land the 3 red skills as a back attack in Persona. Then you get this buff on, is what's going on, okay? Let's see what people say. Among the red skills, you want the Rage Spear to get this buff because it does the highest DPS. But if you even miss a 1 back attack, then other swooping skill ends up getting the buff, which decreases a lot of DPS. So this is what's going on. Build meter, Persona, Rage Spear, 1 stack. Build meter, Persona, Glowing Brand, 2 stack. Build meter, Persona, and the Dancing of Fury, 3 stacks. And then build meter and Persona, Rage Spear, then that gets this buff, right? This buff stacks only if you back attack, guys. And that is like not realistic in the real raid. Like you can miss the back attack as a Lunar Voice. But guys, apparently there's very few players who are actually playing really good. And they are annihilating other classes by doing top tier damage. A lot of players got impressed on those plays and they gave up on Lunar Voice since they can't play monstrous like that. And they swapped to Hunger. Soldier, Full Moon Harvest. The gameplay became much clean because no more Nightmare, so no pre-awakening, no hallucination, like no build time. The Arc passive provides crit rate and both mana related buff, so it's good. It feels like you're playing Full Moon with both Nightmare and Hallucination gear set with only pros, guys. That's what people say. Playstyle didn't change like, much, but the burst DPS got significantly increased because of the 4th line main node, this one, Soul Resonance. The max Soul Stone is now 4 instead of 3, guys. So you can use like Vestige, Guillotine, and Reaper Scythe, and then Vestige out. Night Edge. The two skills have big problem on practicality. The new Z skill, this one, Soul Execution, guys, is a new skill that does a damage, guys. To do this, you need to stack 10 stacks in the Soul Snatch mode, okay? How do you build it? You have to use the Ghast skill, the blue skills, guys. Yeah, the blue skills. And when you get the 10 stacks, you can click the Z and do the damage. So this comes down with, so is building the 10 stack before the Soul Snatch runs out, is that easy or is that hard? To get the 10 stacks before the Soul Snatch ends, you have to use skill called Thrashing over the Harvest, since Harvest, doesn't give you that much stack. It's very tight. But Thrashing is weaker than Harvest, and it gives less meter as well, and the control sense is even awful. So this Thrashing skill is literally just to activate the new Z skill. Also, the Z skill itself has a big problem. Z skill takes like 2.5 seconds to land all the hit. And the last hit does the strongest. In the real raid, the accuracy is not that great. A lot of people are swapping to Full Moon. 07, you want to try out the new Arc passive, but the game doesn't allow you with the current build. So it forces you to play a new skill called Thrashing, but that skill is so scuffed. Okay, Drizzle. The 4th line main node is a new skill. It's a damage skill, guys. It does a decent damage, and you have to use 5, guys. 5 times of weather skills with the 5 stacks of buff stacks. The Dazzling Day does a lot of damage. That's how the mechanism works. So the bursting window of the Drizzle became better. It does a singular number of damage. Since Drizzle does a lot of small damage, a big singular damage skill gives fun. Like, it makes it fun, guys. People, meme by calling it as a budget surge, guys, on this skill. The new skill has push immunity, so the survivability went up as well. The second node gives shield to the party. Let's see. This one, Rain Shield. The Sun Shower, the Z, right, grants a shield equal to 9%, of the Aeromancer's max HP to other party in the range for 5 seconds. It can be only applied once per Sun Shower. Now, people are saying that this is not noticeable. They should increase the duration. Wind Fury. Playstyle became cleaner. No hallucination build time. No Dominion stress. The best part is the new skill on the 4th line main node. The Dividing Space. The new skill X key has a push immunity, by the way, guys, and does big singular damage. Because of the push immunity, you can now just tank some patterns, is what Wind Furies are saying. So more comfortable, okay? Okay, last one, Support Artist. No change on the playstyle. The overall Arc passives are not that great. The reason why they're saying that is same as Pally. It doesn't increase the ceiling. Like for the other DPS, it increases the floor, right? Like floor. Especially if you read this, guys, allowing one bubble for 4 seconds, it's not a ceiling, it's a floor, right? Floor increase kind of stuff. So let's see what people say. the 4th line main node, the 1 bubble 4-second thing that I said, is just a floor buff unless you have a partner in a voice call that can, like, you know, synchronize. Same as a bard, you go for mana forge. So because of that, you go focus runes and mana food. Yep. From the deepest perspective of view, by having an arc passive artist, they say the damage did increase a lot, but that's because of the common node. The common node is like this part, right? These part, the brand power part. And also because of the options from the ancient accessories. The ancient accessories have options of getting like brand power and attack power, like buff efficiency kind of stuff. Last one, DPS artist. No one is even trying to research on it. People are mad on the 4th line side node, the Vagabond. Let's see. Vagabond. Outgoing damage by 8% when not in a party. Great. Great arc passive, bro. Yeah. Anyways, that's all for this video. I studied a lot. Put a lot of effort. If you actually feel it, Twitch Prime right now and subscribe to the YouTube. And hit the like and come to my channel, follow. Stay Giga Chat, spam noted, quality content, bro. Peace out.